Well, hold on. Not so fast. Let's talk about the few sketchy discoveries surrounding Bridget's death.
Okay, let's. Well, we already did, kinda, no?
Not even close.
Oh.
Hey, everyone. What's up?
I was on my way to the gym this morning when Rach asked me to record, so had to turn my ass around, put on a cute sweater, put on mascara.
It's the worst. I know. Sorry.
And do this thing. I'm just kidding. It's a great way to start your day. Going on a run or true crime. Talking true crime. Get your heart rate up.
Piece of shit. Yeah, I know. Sorry, it's a saga over here. We've got strep throat going on. It's a disaster.
I know, that sucks.
So I was going to go work out too. And then I was like, oh no, actually, this is the only time we can do this. So
well, let's do it.
You have to pick your mental health and your physical well-being or this podcast.
This podcast.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. This week, we're going back to Canada. You know what?
Okay.
We were here in episode 109 with the Tweed Creeper, that piece of shit. And I came across this story. This is probably huge in Canada. I don't know. I had not heard of it, but it's pretty tragic on a bunch of different levels. So, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Sources: the Toronto Star, TorontoLife.com, court transcripts, and court documents.
Love it.
I know. Bless Canada, giving me case files. Dream. Bridget. Oh, I'm telling y'all about the Harrison family. I keep doing that. I keep going for it. I haven't even told you what I'm doing.
Okay.
Bridget Blackwell was born on November 11th, 1946 in London, Ontario. Growing up, she was really into theater and starred in several local plays. When she was 16 years old, she got an apprenticeship at Stratford's Performing Arts Theater, which apparently is a very big deal. And
I was looking at a story in London, Ohio the other day.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. She got that apprenticeship, and that's where she met Bill Harrison. Bill was 18 years old, so 2 years older than her. He worked in the costume department. The two fell in love and became inseparable and were described as the perfect balance. Bridget being fiery and passionate, and Bill was chill AF. They got married in 1969 and moved to Mississauga, Ontario, where Bill got a job in sales and Bridget became a teacher. Soon after their wedding, they started trying for a baby, but sadly, as we know, very common, they were not able to conceive one. So they started the adoption process.
That was less common back then, which is tragic as to, because we just pump our bodies with birth control, whatever these days.
I know. Maybe.
Well,
they started the adoption process, and in 1973, they adopted a 6-month-old baby named Caleb. As a toddler, Caleb was quite the little handful in the best way, as most toddlers are. They called him a little rascal, and his aunt said there was no shortage of near heart attacks for any adult watching him. Yes.
Yeah. Just as you want
we
as
see
a
each
toddler. A pain in the ass.
I mean,
let's call it what it is.
A little gremlin. I get that. I relate. Anyone with toddlers relates.
Yeah.
When he was older, Caleb really struggled in school and acted out. Since Bridget was a teacher, she hated that he challenged his teacher so much. And because of this, they butted heads. And I'm sure it made it a little worse when he opted not to go to college because education was very important to her.
Yeah.
In 2000, 27-year-old Caleb was working in the shipping department of a store called My Favorite Doll, which sold collector Barbies.
That's creepy as shit.
I was like, ooh, I bet that's really creepy. Barbies, not so much. But I was thinking like puppets or, creepy dolls.
Yeah.
Barbies. That's where he met 19-year-old Melissa Merritt, who works behind the front desk. Melissa grew up in Toronto from a family of Toronto police officers. She was engaged to her high school sweetheart, but they had recently broken up, so she and Caleb started dating. Okay. They were inseparable and loyal. Listen to this shit. A few months into their relationship, there was a death in Caleb's family, and Melissa wanted to take off work so she'd go to the funeral with them and be like the supportive girlfriend, but she was scared her manager would say no. So the morning of the funeral, she called her manager and just left a message saying she is going to miss work and go to the funeral. And when she and Caleb got back to work a few days later, the manager fired Melissa on the spot. She burst into tears, so Caleb quit right then and there. just out of solidarity. He was like, what? She was going to a funeral with me. F you.
Yeah, that is such bullshit.
She should have told her ahead of time. She did what she wanted and asked for forgiveness pretty much. She called on the way. It was like, hey, not coming in. And they probably had a line out the door at the Barbie collector store.
That maybe, but give her a talking to, but it was for a funeral after all. You're not,
I know. So Caleb, the second she did that, she was like,
nice.
Screw you, I quit too.
How old are they at this point?
They were 27 and 19 when they met. And this was a few months into the relationship.
Okay.
And it's the year 2000.
Okay. I did not know that. I thought it was,
They got really serious. And by 2003, they were married with 2 kids, a little boy and a girl. And they moved into a house about 30 minutes from Mississauga, which is where his parents lived.
Yeah.
Money was tight, and it caused a lot of stress and fights in the relationship. They also fought a lot over Caleb's heavy drinking.
Ooh.
In June 2005, Melissa called the police after Caleb put her in a headlock and hit her repeatedly.
Oh, my God.
He was arrested, spent 3 nights in jail, and convicted of domestic assault.
That's not the Caleb I know.
I know. The rambunctious toddler.
Yeah.
Yeah. This marked the end of their relationship. No second chance with that.
Yeah.
They were done, and Caleb couldn't have visitation with his kids, so he moved back in with his parents and got a new job in construction. About a month after that incident, in July 2005, Caleb was invited to a keg party. He opted to go, but only as designated driver for his friends, because one of the conditions of releasing him after the domestic violence incident was that he was not allowed to drink alcohol.
Oh, okay.
He borrowed his mom, Bridget's Mercedes, and drove 3 of his friends over to the party. While there, though, the temptation was too much to handle, and he started drinking heavily.
Oof.
The party started winding down, and everyone was ready to leave, so Caleb got in his mom's car, and his friends are begging him not to drive. He's wasted. Ultimately, he wouldn't listen, so they all said, all right, well, then we're walking. We're not getting in the car with you.
Yeah.
That proved to be really smart, because as he's driving, he drifted over to the other lane and hits a taxi carrying 4 passengers head on, going 100 kilometers per hour, which is about 62 miles per hour, and way over the speed limit for this road.
Mm-hmm.
The taxi driver, Michael Raymond, was killed.
Oh.
The passengers were all injured, 2 of which pretty severely, but they all survived. I'm not sure what the seatbelt situation is here, but I made this note because we know someone who used to date someone who got T-boned while in a cab. And people don't think about and was severely injured.
Coma. I don't know if he even made it at this point.
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look into it.
He was in a coma for quite some time.
I think if he was going to make it, he was going to be a vegetable, possibly. I can't remember. It was years ago.
Tragic. And he did the responsible thing and took a cab. As did these 4 people.
Because
so sad.
You don't think about, and Ubers too now, you don't think about putting on a seatbelt because you're in a safe ride. But just because you are smart doesn't mean other people are. I still put on a seatbelt.
Yeah,
no, we've talked about that.
I don't. No.
And a taxi, it is you don't really think about it.
It's habit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I understand.
Anyway,
I
that's
understand
the
why
PSA.
people don't. Yeah.
Put on a seatbelt in any car. Just because you are smart doesn't mean other people would just get in and go.
Yeah, would just get in and not buckle. I can see that. Sure.
So anyway, slight PSA. I don't know if they were wearing them or not, but it reminded me of So anyway, both cars burst into flames.
Oh, my God.
People are coming out of their houses in the neighborhood to help get everyone out of the car. I believe it's around 3 a.m. at this point.
Good Samaritans.
Yeah, everyone, the 3 friends who were walking, who said, I'm not getting in the car with you, were walking. They saw the entire thing. So they ran over to Caleb's car to get him out of the burning car. Yeah. Which they did. All the passengers got out who lived. Caleb was actually the least hurt. He had a broken leg. That's it.
They always are. I feel like it always happens that way.
I know. It's really sad.
It's sad.
He was arrested and charged with impaired driving, causing death and bodily harm. He was released on bail with the condition that he lived with his parents while he awaited trial, which he was already living with them anyway, so that wasn't that big of a deal. But Bridget and Bill were devastated by this accident. Obviously. It's very upsetting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In October 2005, Caleb was granted some visitation with the kids as long as he remained at his parents' house. So they started coming every other weekend, and Bridget and Bill loved being able to be more involved with their grandkids.
Yeah.
Caleb's trial for the accident kept getting delayed. Like a judge got sick, and then I think the court didn't send out summons to jurors on time or something. Like a lot of errors that they're like, come on, just kept dragging on and on and on. Eventually, there was a Facebook group pushing for Caleb to get the absolute harshest sentence possible. The page said, "This is Caleb Harrison, the dick that killed someone drinking and driving," and had a picture of Caleb doctored with devil horns in a little speech bubble that said, "Give me a beer and the keys to mommy's Mercedes."
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, this person was pissed.
It's probably a relative of one of the four or to the cab driver.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you later. I know who it is. The goal of the page was to get 100,000 signatures to give to the judge and be like, give them the max. But it got less than 400.
Oh, wow.
By the time of his sentencing in March 2009, Caleb had started dating a new girl named Corinda McEwen. They were in love. His parents loved her, the whole thing. Caleb, Bill, and Bridget also had 50-50 custody of the kids. And Melissa, his ex-wife.
Wait, Caleb, Bill, and Bridget had 50-50?
Yeah, the grandparents were in on that because Caleb alone couldn't get 50-50 custody
okay.
because of the accident.
They share 50% of the custody.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
I was like, where's the mom? I thought you meant like they split custody. The parents.
No, they get part of Caleb's 50. And then Melissa has 50%.
Caleb and his parents are 33.333.
Exactly.
Each. And then,
the ex-wife has.
No, that would be 100. That would be 100, y'all.
50 divided by 3 is not 33.33333.
No.
Whatever. Y'all get it.
Whatever.
Just because Rebecca doesn't get it doesn't mean y'all don't get it.
Yeah, I get it.
And so, Melissa had the other 50. She had remarried a guy named Chris Fator at this point, and they would go on to have 4 more kids in 5 years.
No.
I'm telling you that those are the facts. Damn.
Oh, God. That is a lot on a body.
Yes. Oh, my God. You can never sneeze again.
Without a diaper on?
A diaper on. Forget jumping rope. Hope that wasn't part of your workout regimen because you got to kiss that goodbye.
Yeah.
Caleb, who was 35 at this point, so now we're March 2009, he's finally at sentencing. He was sentenced to 18 months in jail. Sadly, only a month into his sentence on April 16th, 2009, his dad, Bill, died of cardiac arrhythmia. Bridget came home from a meeting or something, found him in the bathroom. He was only 64 years old.
Oh, God. Fateful number.
I know. Our mom was 64 when she died. That's why she said that.
And
it's
her
young.
dad.
It's young. And her dad. Oh, God. In June 2009, only 3 months into his sentence, Caleb is released on parole and moves back in with his mom. Yeah. So think about that Facebook page writer.
Oh, God.
He's released on parole and moves back in with his mom so he could continue having joint custody of the kids because that was part of the stipulation. He had to be living with his mom to get visitation back. But with Bill gone, there was a lot of tension. Apparently, Bill was really the peacemaker of the family, and without him, Caleb and Bridget's relationship became pretty strained.
Oh.
On April 21st, 2010, Caleb's 8-year-old son rode his bike home from school, and when he opened the front door, he saw 63-year-old Bridget, or Nana as he called her, at the bottom of the stairs. She was lying face up with her arms by her side, head resting on the very bottom stair, and her eyes were open.
No.
He ran to the neighbor's house, and the neighbors called 911.
8.
I know. Police get there and immediately pronounce her dead. This is almost 1 year to the day of Bill's death.
Oh, my God.
And when police say, oh, no, she fell down the stairs and hit her head, the family's like, absolutely not.
No. And on the first anniversary, I think I know who did it.
It was like 1 week after the anniversary of Bill's. The coroner noted bruising on her chin and neck that he didn't like, so he ordered an autopsy, and the pathologist determined that the bruises, as well as her bloodshot eyes, were consistent with strangling.
Mm-hmm.
However, there was a specific break in her neck that would be more consistent with a fall and not strangulation. So the cause of death...
Both can be true.
Well, no, I think it was either, and I'm sorry, there's a lot on the forensics of this case if you do want to look it up. I think it was either the back of the neck, the bone that broke, only that broke. Whereas if you're strangling, that one and the front counterpart would have both broken, but only the back was broken, or vice versa. It's one of those. It's something like that. Where
but I'm saying he could have strangled her and then decided to do
and then push
her
her
down the stairs. Yeah, those weren't broke. The front bones weren't broken yet.
Yeah. Okay, maybe, but because of that,
eyes wide open doesn't seem consistent. I don't know what causes that. It doesn't seem consistent with a fall. That's for sure.
Oh yeah,
like eyes wide open says like it was. I don't know.
No, actually, I think I disagree. Actually,
I don't know what causes the eyes to stay open, but
if you die when they're open,
yeah. But when you fall down the stairs, you recoil. It's like you will close your eyes to brace for the fall or whatever. You're not going to keep your eyes open on especially a fall that's going to kill you. That was a bad,
fall. Yeah,
I know she didn't fall. Okay, I know she didn't fall.
I'm not here to tell you about accidental deaths. Is all I'm telling you.
That's right.
But there is an inconsistency. So the coroner, while they continue looking into it, her cause of death was listed as neck injuries. That's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
They start questioning everyone, especially Caleb. The entire family knew they were at odds. So Constable Robert Boyer, who is on this case, asked him his whereabouts. Caleb tells him that he was at work, but almost immediately into their investigation, the forensic pathologist determined that there wasn't enough evidence to say there was foul play involved and ruled the mechanism of death as unknown, not homicide. So the investigation was short-lived and they essentially closed it.
Oh, I was going to give them such props when you said that the coroner didn't like the bruising, saw and demanded an autopsy. I was like, oh, wow. I feel like it's usually.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, they closed it.
Bummer. Oh,
short-lived. So now both parents are dead within a year, pretty much. And Caleb is living in the house solo. So life just carries on.
But he loses custody of his kids, right? That was your stipulation. But
well, yeah, but I don't know how that works in family court anywhere, let alone a different country. But it might have rendered their portion of the custody over back to him. He did not lose custody fully. I'll tell you what's going on.
Oh.
On the night of August 22nd, 2013, so now we're, 3 years after she died, Caleb went to coach his daughter's softball game. Afterwards, the kids went with Melissa since it was her week, and Caleb went home, poured a drink, called his girlfriend around 11 p.m. I think the two got in a fight, a little scuff. So he turned his phone off and went to bed.
Okay.
The next day, on August 23rd, 2013, Constable Robert Boyer, the cop who was investigating Bridget's death for that 3 seconds, got a call from Bill's sister Elizabeth, so Caleb's aunt. When he picked up, she was frantic.
Hold on. Bill's sister Elizabeth. Okay, Caleb's aunt. Yeah,
the one who said that it was a near heart attack for any adult.
Oh yeah,
watching Tyler Caleb.
Sure.
She called Constable Robert Boyer, and when he picked up, she was frantic and through tears yelled, "Caleb is dead."
Was it on the anniversary?
No. Robert Boyer is shocked. So here's what happened there. On the morning of August 23rd, 2013, a housekeeper was cleaning the Harrison's house when there was a knock on the door. She opens it, and it's a man asking where Caleb is because he didn't show up for work. It's a coworker, his boss, or someone.
Yeah.
The housekeeper said she hadn't seen him, but his bedroom door was closed. So they went up there and found him in bed with a blanket pulled up to his chin. And when he wouldn't wake up, they called 911. Or not, whatever it is in Canada. I actually do think it's 911. There you go.
Okay.
An autopsy is performed, and it's determined with certainty Caleb was strangled.
Oh, my God.
Now police are like, shit, let's look at Bridget's death again. And the homicide investigators reopen her case to see if there's a connection. And damn it if there wasn't one.
So let's open Bill's back up.
Well, hold on. Not so fast. Let's talk about the few sketchy discoveries surrounding Bridget's death.
Okay. Let's. Well, we already did, kind of. No?
Not even close.
Oh.
So there was a lot more sketchy things around Bridget's death. First and foremost, she was killed the day before Melissa's child abduction hearing.
Oh.
What's that now?
Wait.
I'll tell you
Melissa's what? Caleb's ex-wife?
Yes.
Oh.
When Caleb got out, I'll tell you what happened there. When Caleb got out of jail and moved back in with Bridget, That was so he could get custody back. The thing is, when he did that, they didn't know where the kids were and hadn't for months.
Oh, God.
The day after Bill's death, Bridget went to school to check on the grandkids, and the school told her they weren't there. So this is back in April 2009. This was a huge problem because since they had joint custody, the kids couldn't be checked out of school unless both were informed and or there was a doctor's note or something, and there was not. So Bridget went to the police, but they couldn't do anything without a court order. So on April 23rd, 2009, Bridget went before the judge. Mind you, Bill had died a week before, and she's dealing with this.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But so she went to the court while she's grieving, and the judge granted her temporary sole custody, which meant the police could issue an arrest warrant for Melissa.
How is that not court or like she checked out the kids, which was not allowed, and it was not allowed via court.
I know.
So how can police? I mean, I know that's the case. It's the case everywhere. It's like it's kind of like the stalking laws, where it's kind of like that bonus episode did, where the stalker sent in his friends to go harass the victim. I'm like, well, okay, technicality, no, he did not directly contact her, but come on, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe that's stupid.
It's
stupid comparison.
Just all process for everything, and I'm sure it was going to be like, obviously you're going to be granted sole custody temporarily, so we can get her in trouble for this, but you do have to come to court so we can do that. Because I'm sure Melissa is operating in some sort of loophole where she's like, no, I have 50-50 custody. I'm going to take them for several months and I'll give them back for several months. Like, I don't know. I don't actually, again, I do not know anything about the family court system. Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. But I do hear it's a real bitch. And I just can't, like, that's irritating to call the police and say, hey, this woman did a thing that we agreed to not do. And where do we agree not to do it? Court. And they're like, well, we have to have a court order. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think she got it very easily. I think that was a given.
Mm-hmm.
So with this, the hunt for Melissa and the kids is on, and a month goes by. Then another month.
Oh my
then
God.
Another month. Finally, in November 2009, 7 months after the kids were taken, police found them in Londonderry, Nova Scotia, with Melissa, her husband Chris, and their 4 kids. Londonderry is a tiny little unincorporated community with a population of 200. It's about 16 hours away from them.
Oh, shit.
They had been living
under... screw up those kids.
I know. They had been living under an alias, but Chris messed up when he paid a rent check using his real name. So Melissa was arrested, and the kids went to live at Bridget's house with her and Caleb full-time. So they actually had sole custody for a little bit. Melissa was released at the time Bridget was killed, with the court order that she was not allowed to be near the Harrisons or the kids, and her hearing over the matter was the day after Bridget's death.
Oh, Melissa.
So, more sketchiness. Oh, go on. What?
Nothing. It's just, all arrows point to you. What are you doing?
Well, we'll get there.
Okay. It's just,
I mean, I don't know if because Bridget and Caleb were killed years apart. I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll get there. More sketchiness.
How many years?
Almost 4.
Oh, okay.
She was able
I'm not ruling out Bill either at this point.
Well, hold on. There's more sketchiness about Bridget.
Okay, sorry.
Bridget's death. Right. About a week before she died, on April 10th, 2010, Melissa and her husband Chris drove to the Harrison's house, which was a violation of the court order after the abduction.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa stayed in the car, but Chris went to the door. And when Bridget answered, he handed her a letter and photos and said it was to give the kids. And just then Caleb pulled up to the house with the kids and saw Melissa sitting in their car. Bridget got scared, so she called police, and Melissa was arrested again and charged with breaching bail because she was not supposed to be anywhere near them.
Yeah.
And she spent 3 days in jail, and Bridget was dead a week later after she got out.
Okay. Yeah.
After she died, Caleb then got sole custody of the kids, but as a temporary arrangement, Melissa got them every other week.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't feel right.
Well, I think the mindset of the court is the grandparents are really the most responsible guardians.
Yeah.
With them both dead, Melissa doesn't have a huge leg to stand on, and Caleb doesn't have a huge leg to stand on. So they're like, I don't know what started this temporary arrangement, but it just legally he had sole custody, but temporarily she did get him every other week. She wanted to keep that arrangement. She did not want it to be temporary. So in July 2013, about a month before his death, she filed an application to get joint custody of the kids back, saying that Caleb was refusing kids more time with her, even though it is in their best interest, blah, blah, blah.
Is it?
No. Caleb never responded to the filing, and the temporary arrangement was set to end the day after he died. So he was killed the night before Melissa was going to go back to very limited visitation. Sketch.
Right.
So realizing what a mess this custody situation was, police know that Melissa and Chris must be behind Bridget and Caleb's deaths. 2 weeks after Caleb died, she filed for sole custody and it's granted. But this time, police are watching her every move.
Both of their aunts, uncles. I don't know.
We'll get there.
Yeah. That doesn't feel like the right answer.
While under surveillance, Chris throws out a coffee cup and police pick it up. And it's a match to the DNA found under Caleb's fingernails.
Oh my God. First of all, I envisioned a mug. I don't know why. And I was like, what a dick. I mean, that's a dick move anyway.
Throwing away
like shattered glass everywhere. I'm like, what?
No, a to-go coffee.
Got it.
One undercover cop posed as a waste collector and rode on the back of the garbage truck to pick up Melissa and Chris's trash.
He wanted to do that.
He was like, this is actually been a lifelong dream. I know I could wait until it's nighttime and just go get it.
Right.
But no. I'd actually like to clock in. I'd like ride the truck. Maybe we'll do a couple of houses in case they see us.
And live out his little toddler dream.
It's fun. So he did that. He picked up their trash, and in it he found latex gloves that had Caleb's DNA on the inside and outside of them. He also found a pair of shoes with dog hair on the soles, and the dog hair matched Caleb's dog.
You didn't tell me about the dog.
Well, Caleb had a dog. But I thought that was interesting. They matched the hair found on the dog.
Yeah.
I mean, on the bottom of the shoes to the dog. And the inside smelled like the dog's breath.
How lucky for them.
I thought that was cool.
Have you never heard that before? Like matching dog hair?
No. We've yet in 118 whatever episode we're on, we've yet to say that once. I mean, it makes sense.
I respectfully disagree. I think there's an episode I did, at least me.
Who knows?
With the dog hair on the blanket. She was wrapped in a... Maybe it's a story I read,
That makes sense.
But,
I mean, it makes sense. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, you just didn't think about it. Yeah.
Didn't think about it.
Just another reason to get a dog.
One that sheds, preferably. Shortly after the murder, Chris and Melissa packed up all 6 kids. Remember, they had 4 of their own.
It's crazy.
And moved back to Nova Scotia. But don't worry, investigators followed them.
Sure.
Finally, in January 2014, they had gathered enough evidence with the DNA, the dog hair, all of it. So they knocked on the door and arrested Melissa and Chris for the first-degree murder of Caleb and Bridget. They're taken to the local station and questioned in separate rooms, obviously. After 13 hours of questioning, Chris folds.
Good.
He confesses everything, telling them that the day Bridget died, he knocked on the door with the ruse that he had a letter for the kids. I guess that was a thing they did.
And she knows what he looks like. Like she knew this was Melissa's husband. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they've been to court.
They had to interact a million times. Yeah.
Yeah.
When she opened the door, he forced his way in and attacked her. He hit her and then strangled her until she stopped moving.
Oh, my God.
He then said Melissa had nothing to do with it. He did this completely on his own just to level the playing field and give Melissa a better shot at getting custody. I guess because, again, Caleb alone had a record and wasn't necessarily the best fit in their eyes for custody in the court's eyes. But with Bridget around, obviously, they got full custody.
Yeah.
Then he said during this whole confession that 3 years later, he bought a black hoodie, shoes, and latex gloves from Walmart, snuck over to the Harrison's house again, knowing that Caleb would likely be asleep. This time he stole the oldest son's house key and let himself in. He snuck into Caleb's room and hit him with a baseball bat and then strangled him. Again, he said Melissa knew nothing about this until it was already done. He had only recently told her that he was responsible for both of their deaths. And by the way, I keep calling Chris Melissa's husband.
I know, it's boyfriend, right?
No, they did attempt to get married. They're actually common law because when they went to get married, Melissa realized that she was still legally married to Caleb. and said, "Oh, I thought if you were separated for 2 years, you're automatically divorced."
Who in God's name told you that?
You really thought you're a dipshit.
Oh
Everyone
my
would do
God.
that. Easy.
She's never heard of a divorce that's dragged out for a year. Talk to Bethany Frankel. How about?
Oh my God. Talk to anyone you know that's divorced.
Right.
Literally anyone. No, of course that's not true, you idiot. So they went through with a ceremony, but it wasn't legally binding. But they're like common law spouses, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. After Chris's confession, they put him and Melissa in a room together. And these two idiots thought they were alone. So they start chatting.
Oh my.
They're 3-hour conversation. I'm not telling someone how to get away with something, but let me tell you this. If your
interrogation rooms are
always bugged, always. But if you call someone on your cell phone, they are listening. If you're talking to someone in the room, good Lord. Anyway,
that's what we call, if you're new here, the dip shittery of these criminals. The dip shittery.
Heard of it? Now you have. Their 3-hour conversation is being recorded, and at one point, Chris says to her, "I'm taking the rap for it to give you accessory after the fact." And then later on, Melissa tells, this is just a little sidebar. Melissa tells Chris that his parents spoke to the police and called her Karla Homolka. And I'm like, yeah. I bet they did.
I bet they did.
A search of their computer also gave good evidence. A month before Bridget was killed, there was a search for what if a grandparent has legal custody and they die? 3 weeks before, another Google search, how long does it take for a person being strangled to pass out? A month before Caleb's murder, someone searched easy ways to kill and get away with it. There was there's actually like a page of bullets, and it's all, some of them are legal custody and they die. If a grandparent has custody of the children and they die, which of the parents gets the kids? And then Bridget Harrison, Mrs. Saga. I mean, it's
good God,
damning.
But yeah, for sure.
Melissa and Chris shared a computer, so they couldn't determine who actually made the searches. Like Chris's story could be true. She had no idea he made the searches. But to try to figure it out, they started looking at email activity to see if email activity matched up, like the times matched up of the searches. But in doing so, it is smart. But in doing so, they made some unauthorized moves. They made some unauthorized searches, and ultimately the Google searches were not admissible at trial, which is
because they didn't have a warrant or something.
Yeah, they went too far with it. They made it said unauthorized search and seizures.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's fine though, because again, Chris's DNA under Caleb's fingernails, his Walmart purchases were verified with surveillance footage, and they found all that stuff in the trash, all of it. So it's fine. They have other evidence. On September 27th, 2017, 4 years after their arrest, the trial started. Prosecutors argued that even though Chris actually committed the murders, Melissa conspired to have them murdered. Therefore, she is also guilty of first-degree murder and not accessory after the fact.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
I agree with that too, obviously. Chris now recants his confession about killing Bridget, saying that he falsely confessed in hopes to see Melissa released so she could go care for their children. He does admit to killing Caleb, but says he was only going over there to beat him up and things got out of hand. Sure.
Out of hand. He was asleep.
He was asleep and you brought a baseball bat.
Right.
They also play the 3-hour recording from when Melissa and Chris thought they were alone, and they do seem to be scheming. Remember, Chris told police that Melissa didn't know anything about this until after it was done, and when they were quote unquote alone, Chris says, "I told you the day after I did my interview with them." And she seems kind of confused, and he says, "The day after I did my video statement." And she says, "The day after you told me about Bridget and Bill." And he corrects her, Bridget and Caleb.
Bill.
That's a transcript. Yeah.
I knew it. I was like, timeline is just too convenient. Let's exhume Bill.
Well, okay. The entire family has had their suspicions since day one about Bill dying of natural causes. Here's why. When Bridget walked in the house the day she found him, all the lights were off, which would have been really weird. Like all the house lights were off inside, which would be weird if he's home alone. Why are all the lights off? So she was calling his name. He didn't answer. She eventually tried to check the bathroom, but the bathroom door was locked from the inside. She had to pick it with a pin and then walked in and found his body on the floor. There were red marks all over his neck that the coroner said was because of a chain necklace he wore, but Bridget always thought that was sus.
Yeah.
Even so, the coroner ruled it natural and said it didn't require further investigation.
Oh, my God.
So they got an autopsy, and the pathologist who did it wrote that he didn't find any evidence of natural death. No heart issues, no signs of disease, but he did find the neck abrasions, a big bruise on his head, and a fractured sternum.
So how did the heart attack come into play, or whatever it was?
Well, this was not a full forensic autopsy.
Clearly.
Since the coroner didn't suspect foul play, they didn't require one. So the pathologist explained all the red flags away because he knew the coroner said there was no need for further investigation. He said that, again, the neck abrasions were from the necklace. He said the broken sternum could have been from falling on the corner of the vanity.
Oh.
And the bruise, that could cause the bruise, like falling on the ground too. So he said the cause of death was a sudden collapse as a result of an acute cardiac arrhythmia with a fall striking the head and chest. So he didn't know if he fell and that's what caused cardiac arrhythmia. I don't even really know what that is.
Me neither,
or
but
vice
it sounds
versa.
like something you would be able to determine quickly.
Yeah, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Bridget nor the family ever believed that, especially when the day he died is the day Melissa and Chris took off for Nova Scotia with the kids.
Okay.
Years later, the pathologist said, had he known what he knows now, especially with the kids being taken, and then again, 2 very sudden deaths within the same family, he would have considered it suspicious and done things differently, and has now gone on record to say that he definitely suspects foul play. Sadly, it's too late for another autopsy because Bill was cremated 5 days after.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
So in addition to first-degree murder charges of Caleb and Bridget.
God, with the entire family suspicious. I'd be like, no, do not touch. Well, of course.
They read the autopsy way after the cremation and the service and all of that said that Bridget later was like, this autopsy maps out how healthy he was, how little this makes sense. That's when she was like, wait. So by then it was too late.
Oof. And I didn't mean to, victim blame the family by saying,
well, no, they were told it was natural and they were like, okay.
Yeah.
But they also didn't realize that the kids were going to be kidnapped the day he died.
For sure.
So in addition to first-degree murder charges of Caleb and Bridget, Chris was now being charged with second-degree murder of Bill. Melissa was not implicated in this at all.
Oh, my God.
Chris maintains he had nothing to do with Bill's death and that actually he really liked Bill. Bill was his favorite of the 3. However, the Crown, which I guess in Canada is like the Crown versus the defendant rather than the state versus defendant like it is here.
Yeah.
So the Crown presented evidence that right before he died, Bill found out about Chris and Melissa's plan to take the kids and move and confronted Chris about it, which led to murder.
Oh.
I don't know what evidence they presented, but they said Bill knew about this plan and took matters into his own hands and it got violent.
Yeah.
The defense called up an expert who said no, Bill's death was consistent with a natural death and a broken sternum is very common when CPR is performed. Here's the thing, though. CPR was never performed.
Yeah, I was about to say, was CPR performed?
Nope.
And also not natural unless he's taking his own life, locking the door, all the lights off, like that.
The bathroom light was even off. They're like, why would he do that?
Like, it's all aligns with natural causes. Don't just talk about the physical evidence, the environment. That does not align with natural causes. That's weird.
Right. So that was the big sticking point, was the broken sternum. That's a very severe injury, even if he fell on the vanity. That's a hard fall. I mean,
yeah, especially if he's healthy and 64. Not old people. He's not
I know. But without the body, it's really hard to make a case. And they couldn't place Chris there. They couldn't place anyone there. So that's a tough one. But it's now a part of trial. With Melissa, they point out that she has been fighting for custody since day one and would do anything to get it. She had filed several complaints to the courts over the years, claiming that Caleb, Bill, and Bridget were all abusive to the kids. This happened all the time. She also reported several home invasions that she thought Caleb was responsible for. In the weeks after the drunk driving accident, Melissa called police saying Caleb attacked her at her house. So police went over to question Caleb, and he's sitting there with a very bad broken leg. And he's like, clearly she's unaware that I got hurt in the accident. He couldn't get around at all. There was not a chance. He went over, broke into her house, and attacked her. So they're like, that we know that's not true.
Then going forward, everything she claims needs to be looked into.
Well, I don't know. I think the original domestic violence assault where he had her in a headlock and punched, the thing that led to divorce, I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh.
Some of the sources did make it sound like that actually did happen, but she's such a damn liar.
I know, it's hard.
So don't know. Do what you will with it. They also have her on, they have the Walmart surveillance with Chris buying all the shit the day before Caleb was murdered. One source said that she was on the footage in the Walmart. I couldn't find the actual footage. Another said she drove them there. Either way, she knew. This was not her finding out after the fact. What are we doing?
Yeah.
The trial goes on for 3 months and the jury deliberates for 4 hours. Chris was found guilty of first-degree murder of Caleb and Bridget, not guilty of Bill's murder. It was just too hard to prove. They didn't have a body. It's very circumstantial, but the general consensus is, he was murdered.
Yeah.
Melissa was found guilty of Caleb's murder, but the jury couldn't reach a verdict about her involvement with Bridget, so mistrial was declared on that charge. Both were sentenced to life in prison with no parole for at least 25 years. Chris received 2 of those sentences to be served concurrently.
Damn.
This is kind of fucked too, depending on how you look at it, and I don't know the family dynamics really. Despite Caleb's will, he made a will, I think, after his 2 parents. He always was like, I would ask Chris and Melissa where they were during both my parents' death.
Oh, wow.
So he made a will. And he said in his will, he wanted his children to go to his cousin.
Oh.
But the kids went to live with someone in Chris's family. No one would say who out of privacy.
Sure.
Despite the sole custodial parents saying, here's what I want to happen to my kids if I die. They just ignored it.
Well, but maybe the cousin was not in a position at the time. Maybe
they were very close. No, she's in a lot of these articles. No, yeah, everyone's pissed. She was very equipped to take care of these 2 kids. It seems like it. Yeah, she was very active and they were very, very close. But my other caveat is maybe they were really close with their half brothers and sisters. Remember, there's Melissa and Chris had 4 more.
Yeah.
So maybe they were like, no, we really don't want to be separated from them. And Chris's family might be wonderful. I don't know we don't know anything about it.
Oh,
but it does seem weird that like it didn't not only not go to a relative that he said, it didn't go to any of his relatives. It went to a family he's not even related to. And actually the family of the guy who murdered him.
Yeah.
That is not great. But again, maybe the kids said, because by this point they're definitely old enough to have an opinion.
Make a decision. Yeah.
So maybe that's fucked. Maybe it's not. Also, Chris was the one who started that Facebook page.
Oh, I had no doubt. I thought it was going to be Melissa. I was thinking about that, being like, oh yeah, who is the advocate for his harshest sentence?
It was Chris, and I mean, I'm sure Melissa too. And I just didn't know where to throw this in, except for now during the custody hearings and the drunk driving trial, all of that. Melissa and Chris attended every trial day for that, whatever the fuck, and they would make faces.
To like get him to laugh and be like, see, he's not taking this seriously.
No, they were just making to the Harrisons, to Bridget and Bill, to Caleb, like sticking tongues out and stuff.
Stop.
It's that
I would be like, what these people is going on?
Crazy.
The court is out of order. Let's kick them out. That is ridiculous.
It's so very uncomfortable.
Y'all aren't right. That's bizarre.
And that's the crazy story of the Harrison family, who all mysteriously died within years of each other. And these 2 idiots who thought they were going to get away with it.
Oh my God. It's always some idiots thinking they're going to get away with something. Good one. Where'd you find that? Never even heard of it.
Did someone reach out to us? No, I can't remember. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, good one.
Yeah. Patrons: Brenda, Melissa, Michelle, Danielle, Adriana, Debbie, Ashley, Gigi, Alexis. Yeah, Gigi, that's right. That's a hometown friend. We had a girls' weekend last weekend and we forced her to sign up at gunpoint.
Yeah.
So thanks, Gigi. Thanks for your support.
Thanks for your support. And thanks for everyone's support.
Everyone's support. Wait, I have
custom. True crime's not our thing. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's true. The first custom shout out is from Chanel. I'd like to plug my small business. Chanel designed it. I specialize in the art of expression on apparel, sportswear, and gifts. I can be found on Instagram at Chanel Design Edit. Oh, wait, no. Okay, hold on. I see. And Etsy, but hold on. It looks like that in the handle, but it's Chanel Designed It.
Oh, okay.
Get it?
Okay.
So I was like,
Yeah,
edit.
yeah, yeah.
And I was like, wait, no, designed it. Duh.
Okay.
So ChanelDesignEdit. So that's why, y'all get it. So go shop, go look at her Etsy, her Instagram, all of it. Thanks, Chanel.
Thank you so much, Chanel.
The second one's from Judith. My brother Andrew and his in-laws own and run the best family brewery in South Carolina. I'm not even biased. Swamp Rabbit Brewery is located in the very cool downtown Travelers Rest right off of the Swamp Rabbit Trail. They have a great outdoor space, and usually there's a food truck. They constantly have new beers coming out. I'm partial to the white ale, especially when they put raspberries in it. Kid and dog friendly. They're on Facebook and Instagram. I love people are the worst. My therapist and I love talking about it during our sessions. Hey, Hannah T.
Hey, Hannah T.
Hannah.
And
you've been to Swamp Rabbit.
I've been to Swamp Rabbit. Judith, I live in Greenville. And I know we've kind of DM'd about this because she was like, one of you live in Asheville, and my shout out's kind of from there. And then she talks about Swamp Rabbit. And I'm like, that's Greenville. I'm in Greenville. I'm even closer.
Yeah, you are.
I love Travelers Rest. I love Swamp Rabbit Brewery. It's great, guys. If you're local, go if you're in the area. I drive through Travelers Rest all the time coming to you, and I never stop. And I know I should. Everyone's like, it is so cute. It is really cute.
Is that where you and Barrett stopped that Sunday when you just kept dragging on and on?
Sure was. We told our babysitter we had car trouble and got some beers.
It is kid friendly though. I remember seeing pictures of it.
Oh yeah, it is. But
awesome. But you wouldn't know because you went there kid free.
I went there kid free and it was fabulous.
So yeah, Chanel, Judith, thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Shouts, and thank y'all for listening. And y'all are the best.
People are the worst. Tell everyone you know.
Bye. Bye.